You can't help when you take a walk through this country feeling like everything's broken.
Better is always possible, but I don't accept Canadians and politicians that talk down our country. Let me be very clear. But let me be very clear for the record. Canada is not broken.
Inflation is at a 40-year high. 1.5 million Canadians visited a food bank in a single month. In the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, that number was 180,000 in one general metropolitan area. 1 in 5 Canadians are skipping meals because they can't afford their groceries, and about half of Canadians are $200 or less away from insolvency. The number of insolvencies is up by a fifth compared to a year ago, the biggest increase in 13 years. 1 in 6 businesses are considering closing their doors. Households now face the prospect of 15% of their income going to debt servicing alone, a recent record. Mortgage interest costs for the average family are up 11% year over year, the biggest increase since 1991. And if you do renew your mortgage today, after having secured it 5 years ago, you're paying about $7,000 more per year for the very same house that you lived in last year. And if you think home ownership is expensive, well, be careful about renting. That now costs $2,000 a month in the average Canadian city. Vancouver is the world's 3rd most inflated housing market. Toronto, the 10th. In fact, Vancouver is more expensive than New York, Singapore, London, England, and countless other of the world's most famous cities where they have more people, more money, and less land. And if you took a walk out of your house onto the street, you would find yourself more in danger of being attacked. 32% more, in fact. That is the increase in the violent crime rate since this Prime Minister took office. In fact, there were 124,000 more crimes committed this year than in 2015 when the Prime Minister came to office. There were 788 homicides in Canada last year. That's up from 611 back in 2015, another 29% increase. 92% increase in gang-related homicides, 61% increases in the reports of sexual assaults since 2015. Police-reported hate crimes are up 72% over the last 2 years alone. This, after the government tells us it is investing so much of its rhetoric and its money in fighting racism. We see hatred and hate-based violence increase by 3/4. 31,000 Canadians lost their lives to overdoses. If you take a walk down streets like East Hastings in Vancouver, you will see tent cities where adults are laying face first on the pavement, having just completed their most recent dose, not sure whether they'll actually awaken, where police and social workers literally have to scour the streets 24/7 to check pulses of people lying on the pavement, not as extraordinary circumstances or one-time emergencies, but daily events. In fact, there were 71,069 Canadians who died of overdoses in 2021. 21 people are dying every single day of overdoses. That is up from 11 per day. More than 6 million Canadians do not have access to a family doctor. And now, the most simple expectations that we have for our health, like going into a pharmacy and getting painkillers for our children, has now become out of reach. Canadians are now forced to drive south of the border to get the same medications that are not available on this side of the border. In fact, according to an association of pharmaceutical wholesalers that represents businesses in 19 countries, only Canada is suffering from these shortages.
And in Canada, better is always possible, but I don't accept Canadians and politicians that talk down our country. Let me be very clear. But let me be very clear for the record. Canada is not broken. When I see what the great people at Dress for Success are doing to empower vulnerable women, to help them find jobs and be independent, I don't see a Canada that's broken. When our brave women and men in uniform are picking up chainsaws to cut fallen trees and clear roads in Atlantic Canada after the hurricane, Canada is not broken. When the Southern Chiefs Organization is repurposing the historic Hudson's Bay building in downtown Winnipeg to create affordable housing, Canada is not broken. When Reut, a mother of 3 young children in BC, tells me that she's now able to go back to work full-time because childcare fees have been cut in half this year, Canada is far from being broken. And of course, it's not just her. In November, the employment rate in Canada for women aged 25 to 54 reached close to 82%, the highest it's ever been. That's because when we invest in childcare, moms like Reut don't have to choose between their careers and their families. This is what we mean when we say that social policies like affordable childcare are also economic policies. Moms and dads across the country are saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month because of our investments in childcare. And when we roll up our sleeves to do this work together to build an economy that works for all Canadians, we see it. Canada is not broken. Tant et aussi longtemps qu'on est là les uns pour les autres, comme on a vu les gens s'entraider aux îles de la Madeleine après Fiona, ou partout au pays pendant la pandémie, il n'y a aucun défi qu'on ne peut pas relever ensemble. Au Parti libéral, on continue de se concentrer sur des vraies solutions. Notre vision de l'avenir est positive parce qu'on croit en les Canadiens. Ce sont les gens notre plus grande richesse. My friends, we can't take our progress for granted. We have to keep working hard. Mr. Poilievre is a career politician who's been part of the Conservative Party establishment with Stephen Harper and others for 20 years. He's ready to say anything to anyone if he